All right. I am here with Divya Gugnani, and she is the founder and CEO at 5 Cents. How's it going, Divya?
It's great.
Good, 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 good. I'm glad to have you on. I'm excited to unpack some of the success that you've had. But before we get there, let's start with your background. How did you get started?
Everything started at college. Went to Cornell, came out of college, and started my first job at investment banking, Goldman Sachs. Slept under a desk, loved every day of it. Some people hate that job, and I was like a sponge and just soaked up everything around me. Then invested in late stage companies, worked at a multi-billion dollar private equity fund, and then worked at a multi-billion dollar venture fund and started investing in early stage companies. Went to business school, got my MBA, somewhere along there. Really like loved to cook and got a degree in culinary school. Attended culinary school,
Cool.
and kind of cooked as a hobby, and then went back to investing and just early stage investing. And I got bitten by the entrepreneurial bug. God, I can't remember when my first company was. I feel like it was 2005 or six, somewhere around there. I started my first company. I've co-founded five businesses and I've sold three.
Very nice. Very nice. I think that a lot of times finance backgrounds help sort of demystify a lot of, like, not only the terminology, but just in general how the books work. And
Yes.
I think that that does give a
Cash
lot of
management.
confidence. Yeah.
One of the biggest killers of businesses is poor cash management. So why do so many companies go out of business? It's because the founder is this amazing creative genius or has a great concept or has a great product or has a great service, but can't manage the cash and then goes out of business.
Yeah.
So the one thing I will tell you, the advantage of having a financial background and got the MBA and had so many years of work experience in investment banking, private equity, venture capital, I built the financial foundation to not go out of business. That's one thing.
Very nice. Very nice. And just that knowledge, I think when you step off into, the deep end of your own venture, it is truly like a gift to be able to know good cash management and know exactly what you need to do and have a little bit of a playbook is really cool. So let's talk about the first venture. You said that we had three that we can kind of unpack. Which was the first one, and what were some mistakes that you learned there?
So my very first business was in the auto parts space. You wouldn't believe this, but I was dating a guy and he was really passionate about cars and he could figure out all the mechanical issues that cars would have right after they would get out of warranty, specifically German cars. And I had a full-time job at this multi-billion dollar venture fund. I loved my job and he like was trying to figure out what he wanted to do in life. I was like, why don't we just start a company? So literally we started a business together, which I did all the infrastructure for. He had all the product knowledge and all the merchandising knowledge. And then I basically put the website together, built the business, got the customers, kind of set up all the other stuff. And we built this business very quickly and really partnered with eBay Motors and sold a lot of aftermarket auto parts online, which was like very early in its time for this stuff, and sold the company. So it was amazing. It was like to build a business and have so much success so quickly. It's almost like a bad thing because then you like assume every business is so easy. That was my easiest business. It only got harder after that.
Very cool. The
It's like
auto.
having that first kid and the kid's easy and like you're tricked into having more and you're like, oh my God, this is really hard when you have a hard one.
Yeah. Yeah. So you sell that business. What's
Yep.
next?
So I sold that business and I'm like, if I can be an entrepreneur, which I now had conviction that I could be an entrepreneur, I want to be an entrepreneur in a space I'm really passionate about. So in walks food, because as I mentioned, went to culinary school between undergraduate and graduate degrees. And I love to cook. I was very passionate about it. But this was before the age of Instagram, before the age of like, heavy YouTube penetration and all that other stuff. So this business was too early for its time. And essentially, we built a culinary media business. We had sponsorship revenue, and sometimes we'd get a six-figure check and be amazing, and then the phone wouldn't ring for 6 weeks. And so it was like up and down and up and down, and ultimately we just ended up pivoting, and I ended up the funding that I'd raised for that business. I basically pivoted and put it into another company, which became my third company, which was Send the Trend. And at Send the Trend, we built a proprietary algorithm for intelligent shopping recommendation technology. That, in a mouthful, basically says that if you went on our website and it was raining in Seattle, we were showing you umbrellas. And if it was sunny in New York, we were showing you sunglasses. We basically created a very hyper-personalized shopping experience built by lots of machine learning, which is early for its time, and a lot of data collection. And we built the subscription business. We raised venture funding for it, and we sold the company 11 months later to QVC for a life-changing outcome for me.
Wow, that's moving fast. 11,
Yes.
11 months is fast.
I mean, I launched the business, grew the business, raised my Series A, had multiple term sheets, decided to work with one partner that I really liked, and then we just hit the gas and sold the company
Nice.
to
Very
QVC.
nice. Very cool.
And then I worked
So
there for 2.5 years.
you worked at QVC?
I did. And
Cool.
it was really like culture shock for me. Like, I think one of the most important things as an entrepreneur is to like know yourself and be self-aware and know what you're good at, know what you're not good at. And I got to tell you, one thing I'm really not good at is being in a big corporate job. Not for me. Like, I am a founder through and through. I'm an entrepreneur through and through. I love to work, love the early days, love creating, love building, love solving problems, love putting out fires. Then you get in these like corporate roles, and it's like you have a meeting to have a meeting to have a meeting about a meeting you're going to have in 6 months. We're going to talk about something that's not going to happen for 3 years. Not for me.
Yeah.
Could be for someone else, just not for me.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of wisdom in that often sometimes people, if there's a lower valuation when they go through the exit to a larger corporation, they don't really take into account that there's education that happens at the company. So like QVC is a beast. That is a
Yes.
huge company.
Multi-billion-dollar beast.
And you could learn so much there. It would be like, I'm assuming you did learn a ton over 2 years of like what you didn't like, what you did like, how parts of the business worked. And I think that there's so much equity there of being able to learn what not to do and what to do as you
100%.
scale.
Yeah, and by the way, I knew nothing about the beauty business. Like, so I was running the digital side of home, fashion, beauty, style, and garden. And I then really got exposed to beauty and was like, oh my God, look at these beauty founders going on TV, talking about a problem they had in their life and how they created a product to solve that problem, and kind of problem solution marketing. Like, oh, here's like my lashes without any mascara. And by the way, here's my lashes with mascara, and I look like a totally different person. And, you know, here's my dry, parched, dehydrated, like processed hair. And now I created this amazing conditioner. Now it looks soft, silky smooth, and like I look like I belong in a magazine. And so just hearing founders tell their personal stories and innovate in terms of product and, you know, show problem solution live in a TV selling format was very powerful. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot from being there. And I was like, oh, I want to start a beauty company. Like, that was literally like, that was the impetus for starting Wander Beauty, which became my fourth business and my third exit.
Very nice. Good segue into preparedness.
Yes.
What is everybody listening to this? You know, you've let's say you're operating a business, you're in the trenches. Somebody listening tunes in right now. What are some of the high level things you can do to prepare to get ready?
Prepare to sell?
Yes.
Okay. So 100% get your house in order. Get your house in order as if you could sell your company tomorrow. If you don't have the right books and records, you don't have the right legal formation, you're not paying taxes in the right states, you don't have agreements set up with all your key employees and vendors, like, don't even think about selling. You can make sure you run a very tight operation. I prefer to do this from day one, but if you're preparing to sell, make sure all your license, registrations, insurance, workers' comp, everything is up to date, because you're going to literally be dissected during this process. And so you want to make sure that you have everything in order. That's number one. Number two, I would say really think through what you're looking for in a partnership before you actually approach a sale process. Make sure you know what you want. Do you want to stay on with the business? Are you exhausted, tired? Do you have PTSD from like, you know, running a company for so many years and you just like need to get out and you need to be done. You need to like sail into the sunset. And then like, what does that look like for you economically? Like, where do you want to be? Where do you want to land up? So you can prepare yourself mentally for the process, which is really a grueling process. I don't know anyone who has an easy sale process. Maybe my first company was pretty simple. So it was a simple sale process. The other two companies I sold after that, I mean, they were mind-numbingly painful. So just being hyper organized, having your books and records, knowing what you want and want to get out of the process is very important, being self-aware. And then really having a good, strong team in place, I think, is critical. Because if you're going to run the sale process, then you need someone running the day-to-day business. Because the same person can't run the sale process and run the day-to-day business. It's virtually impossible if you're running a competitive process for a large size business. Like, running a company is a full-time job. Selling a business is a full-time job. You then have two full-time jobs. And so I had to really like bring on a strong day-to-day hire to do a lot of the day-to-day work and like get that person up to speed, trained and ready so that I could really manage the sale process.
Mm-hmm. And it's a good kind of overview. I like that having somebody manage the sale process is crucial. And it's this balancing act of who you share that you're
And
in a
what
process.
you share.
Yeah. It's
What
such
you
a
share. How much is too much? How much is too little? Like, they ask you for the world. It was like, oh, can I have your Shopify access and save it? I'm like, no, you can't see all my customers.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's very, very tricky dynamic to dance around there. So 0 to 11 months is a fast clip to be growing and also just going through the sales process.
Oh, for Send the Trend, we started the business, we raised venture funding, and then we sold 11 months after raising
11
venture
months
funding.
after.
Yeah.
Okay, after the round. Got
Correct.
it.
After the round, that investor was a very happy investor.
Very happy investor, I'm sure. So let's talk about timing. This is always something that comes up.
Yep.
When is the right time to sell?
The right time is when your business has a lot of momentum. Don't ever try and sell on the downswing. You got to sell on the upswing. Because you want to get optimized for the best price, you have to drive a competitive process. The best price always comes from competition. When multiple buyers are in the mix, you can, play them off each other to optimize for the best outcome. And that only happens when you're a desirable asset. You're only a desirable asset when you're doing two things. You're growing and you're profitable. And so I think the environment no longer is growth at all costs. It doesn't matter if you're profitable. That used to be the thing like 10 years ago, 5 years ago. That used to be a thing. It's not a thing anymore. Everyone wants you to be growing and be profitable. And so that balancing act of having that in play is a tough one. And I think it's very important to kind of understand when you're ready to do it. When you're like mentally at a point where you feel like, you know what, I feel like the business is in the right economic shape to be a viable asset to be acquired, and like, don't miss your window. So many entrepreneurs, I've seen this so many times, they overplay their hand. And by the way, I'm guilty of this. My mom used to always tell me like, your first offer is always your best offer. That's 99% true. Like, I, early in the days of Wander, had an opportunity to sell or like, raise money at a very attractive valuation. I was like, oh, I grew this thing from like, 0 to tens of millions of dollars in this short period of time, 2.5 years. So if I put my head down, I see how I get there. So why would I take that price now? Like, I wouldn't take that price now. And then COVID happened. And guess what? That price was the best price I ever got offered in the 10 years of running the company. So I learned a very hard lesson. Timing is everything. So be on the upswing, have strong traction in your business, know that you're mentally ready to, do this and go through this process. You need to be in a very strong mental state to go through a sale process. Can't be fragile. It's not for you. And then, and then really timing. Just like, if you have momentum and interest and people are reaching out to you to buy your business, that's the time to sell your business, when you can create a competitive environment that's going to optimize the price.
And with optimizing price, so you mentioned profitable and momentum, two key ingredients there. Somebody listening to this that's thinking about valuation, like they're looking at their P&L while they're listening to you.
Yeah.
What are things that they can do to drive up that valuation, other than the momentum and the profitability, of course?
So many new things. I think focus. Do a few things and do them well. And if you demonstrate success in a few key areas, like suppose you're like do DTC and do Amazon. Okay? You're like really good at your DTC business. Every dollar you're spending, you're getting $3 to $5 back in your ROAS, return on ad spend. You're on Amazon, you're investing in Amazon business, it's growing on a rapid clip, you're showing it. Then you're showing somebody who buys your business, like, hey, I have a viable consumer business in these two channels, which are profitable and growing. Now you can open up the spigot, invest your money, and open up retail and be in thousands of stores and then multiply what the foundation that I've built. And so I think giving that upside or having that, I think if you focus and you're profitable in what you do and you're growing, then you can show someone who wants to buy you that they can expand upon that growth. If you show early product market fit, you can show a buyer that they can put money behind that product market fit and really scale. So you have to be able to show in your P&L there's a lot of upside. Don't try and do everything. Like a lot of founders make this mistake. They're like, oh, I want to sell at the best price possible, so I'm going to drive the most amount of sales I can in unsustainable channels to just like get a quick flip and turn on that revenue to get a multiple. So I'll give you an example. I have a friend who's a founder. She's like, oh, I'm going to sell my company. So like she signed up like 20 different distributors in foreign countries. She was like shipping her product to anyone who would take it because she's like, I just want to drive top line sales. So like a buyer buys me instead of being at X, I'm like up here, I'm at Y. I'm, doing a little bit more revenue than what I was before because I'm giving my product to distributors. You give your product to distributors, they have a very healthy margin. Suppose you're getting 30% of the retail price, they're getting 70%. They have an incentive to just gray market goods, distribute it further to other markets and to sell it to other people or discount it heavily. When you do those activities and you sell to distributors and you're not monitoring and protecting your brand, the brand dilution that happens and the brand damage that happens actually can really damage your core business. So by expanding to too many markets internationally or in general, if you expand too quickly and you can't protect your brand, you can't protect your business or protect your product, you get diluted very quickly. And then the value of your brand is not there anymore. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And that
Too many people are looking for the quick sales lift and they start doing a bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense for their business, partnering with the wrong brands or opening up new distribution or channels that they shouldn't, going into too many retailers, like going into tons of moms and pop shop. One of my friends was like, oh, I'm going to like sell all these like spa chains or I'm going to sell all these like mom and pop shops. Then they like can't collect money from them. So they're like in a worse financial position because now that channel is not profitable. It's actually a drain on your business because you're in collections with half these people. Don't make risky decisions that you think will drive revenue to get you a better sale price. Be very focused on what you do. Do a few things, do them well, make sure they're growing and profitable, and you will get the largest outcome for your business.
And that almost answered the entire next question of mistakes. Mistakes is like my favorite topic.
I made them all. So I got 20 more mistakes for you. Don't worry.
So that was a good one around focus of like kind of choosing to even work with distributors that could make you grow too quickly and tarnish the brand. That's a fantastic example of a mistake. But what are some of the things that you've seen repeatedly with mistakes maybe you've made or you've seen people make?
So I have invested with my own money in over 80 consumer brands, consumer tech, consumer businesses, brands at Sephora, Ulta, Target, things like that. And I will tell you the number one mistake I see founders make is raising too much money too quickly. When they have any initial momentum, they start raising money thinking they're going to like amplify and scale the brand. The thing about raising money is that it burns a hole in your pocket. You end up spending it. So you raise too much money, you spend it too quickly, and then you can't sustain the momentum of the brand and the business because you don't have the fuel to do it. And that's something I see over and over again. You also raise too much money and you mask product market fit because now you're like got a flywheel of marketing activities. You're doing influencer, you're doing PR, you're doing in-person activations, you're doing events, you're doing brand trips, you're doing all of this stuff. You don't know what's working because there's no isolated nature of understanding what channels are working because you're kind of doing so much. And another problem raising so much money is raise a lot of money, start doing everything. And then you can't isolate what's actually working. And then you can't dive in deeper to what works in your marketing funnel. And then you just like, you're wasting a lot of money. And so I do think the root of a lot of failure in the consumer space is around founders raising too much money too quickly.
I think that's spot on. That's spot on. Over the last 5 years, that nails it.
Reoccurring theme.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So that takes us to the finale. Knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself 10 years ago?
Two big things. One is have a big vision. Like big. Like think big. You're the entrepreneur, you're the founder. Like think big, big, big. And invest in the best people you can afford early on. I scrimped on this. I was like, oh, I'm smart. I can do everything. I want to work myself to death, work 7 days a week, work on the weekends, and hire junior people and like teach them everything that I know, teach this person that, teach this person digital marketing, teach this person customer service. I know enough to be dangerous in like every department, right? So it's like I can teach all these young and emerging talent how to like be 10% of my brain and like build the brand. Big mistake. And if I could do this all over again, I would do what I did with 5 Cents, my fragrance brand. When I launched 5 Cents, my most recent venture, it's your mood bottled. It's all fine fragrances that really capture your mood. Every fragrance is a mood, like Happy Tears is joy and sunshine in a bottle. You think about hiring a lot differently as you make mistakes in hiring, because outstanding brands are built by outstanding people. And so if you have really great people, if you have the right people on the bus in the right seat, the bus is going to go somewhere great. But like if you don't have the right people, the bus is not going somewhere great. You don't have the right people in the right seat, the bus is not going somewhere great. And so having the right people in the right seat from the early days, even if you can't afford them, hiring them fractionally and getting a piece of their mind share will make your pie bigger. As opposed to you saying, I've got mind share, I'm going to like get a bunch of worker bees to do stuff that I already know how to do. That doesn't make the business get big quickly. You want to go far, go together. You want to go fast, go alone. So if you want to go far, you want to build a big business with a big vision, you got to get people to believe in you. You need to believe in yourself. And then you need your investors to believe in you. And then you need to hire the right team and talent that believes in you and your vision to execute that vision and turn it into a reality. And then you need vendors to believe in you because they got to give you terms because you don't have money. It's like you got to get suppliers, you got to get customers. Everyone needs to believe, ultimately, everyone needs to believe in you. The bet's on people. So you got to believe in yourself first and hire the right people around you.
Well said. Well said. So where can people learn more about what you're working on?
So I created just a single TikTok channel that is entirely focused on business. It's like not my personal life, not what's going on in my kids, not my teenagers' sons' obsessions for the week. It's all about entrepreneurship and investing and my journey there and the lessons I've learned. It has a lot to do with AI now because I'm leveraging AI so much in my daily life. It's on TikTok. The handle is at DGUGNANI, at D Gugnani. And that is my TikTok handle. And I share most of my business insights there.
Amazing. And where can people find more about 5 Cents?
Our website, the number 5, SENS.co. So 5cents.co. We're also on Instagram and TikTok at the number 5, SENSCO. Right
on. Well, wherever you guys are listening on iTunes or Spotify, the links that Divya mentioned are in the show notes. But thank you so much for coming on and sharing all your wisdom.
Thanks for having me.